Hello, superhumans out there. I'm Sally Knott. I did the remote viewing of the tragedy of the Baltimore bridge collapse, and I will get into what I got energetically. We do have to be careful and say this is for entertainment purposes only. After all, this is fluff tube. So I am going to share with you right now a YouTube channel that I think is going to add some context to what I'm about to share with you. Um, I think it'll help put everything sort of in a mental perspective. Now, Professor Nez, I will leave the link of his channel, this particular video, in the description box below if you want to watch the whole thing. But I do want to share with you at least a couple of minutes of this particular video because it's important to lay some groundwork with what I got energetically. So let's get started.
Work and collapsed into the bridge. I'm going to show this video of this. I'm sure you've seen this probably a lot today, but I've never seen the video like this. This is a video that kind of shows through animation the different segmentations of this tanker colliding with this bridge. And the whole title of this video is have been prevented. And it's interesting to kind of look at this. I'm not trying to start conspiracy, but I think we wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't do it or conduct our own investigation. I want to watch this video and then we'll take a look at it. So there you can see was power loss one. Loses power. Is that it immediately recovers and it's still turning into the bridge. You see that thick smoke right there? Warlock number two happens. Smoke is still there. Recovery once more. And I know that the pilots were calling Mayday. And then way too late. And you can see there's people working on the bridge, there's cars. And then look at how fast that thing just collapses. Now, I know, I'm not an engineer, okay? I'm not an engineer. But it seems, am I the only one that finds it very odd that this bridge, which is ginormous, is absolutely huge, in the specific areas that it collapsed. You can almost see right above my head that point of the bridge at the left of your screen. There seems to almost be a detonation charge up there. Again, I'm not trying to start a conspiracy, and God knows how heavy and how big. If you're an engineer, if you know about this stuff, let me know in the comments. I'm going to give you some facts. I'm going to give you some concrete substance about this specific tanker, this specific storage ship, this boat in just a second. But here, I want to cut to this clip right here. Showing the enormity. I don't think people understand the scope and the macro perspective of how enormous this bridge is. Check this out. Cam footage of a driver driving over the Baltimore bridge that collapsed. I want you to just kind of watch this with me. So I think this truly reveals the scale of what has collapsed and how it collapsed so quickly, completely. Check this out. You can see this is not a small bridge. This is a major I-695 in Maryland. Again, this is the Francis Scott Key Bridge, and it is absolutely enormous. This is not a small bridge. This is the weight, the depth, the scope of this bridge is absolutely ginormous. Okay, we continue.
All right. So again, I will leave the link to this particular video below so that you'll have it. Now, energetically, I got that this is an act of terrorism or sabotage. Let me put it to you that way. So that's my humble opinion. Do your own due diligence. Look at all the information. Anybody that comes to you and says, for a fact, it was this or it was not that this soon, we need to peel that away and say, wait a minute, how do they know it is this way or that way so soon? Usually investigations take time. But when you're remote viewing, this is the energy that I get. So from that perspective, from the remote viewing perspective, I could feel the panic in the crew of this cargo ship. I feel kind of there was like an explosion because I can kind of feel it. I'm sentient, so I can kind of feel that. But and then I feel like it loses control. And then from that part, it almost feels like somebody's got like Xbox or a drone, and they're controlling it from someplace else. And as you watch the film, you begin to see that it's almost like the power comes back on, like an auxiliary power, snaps back on. And for an instant, these guys have control of their own ship, and it begins to veer away from the bridge abutment. But then at the last minute, you see the power again go out. And then as it goes out, you can see it begin to swing back in. So, energetically speaking, from this perspective, it feels to me that this was intentionally done. Now, again, we're on fluff tube, so I can't go beyond that. So, remember, please remember that people lost their lives in this. Families were impacted by this, and many of us are going to be impacted by this event. And so please send as many prayers that you can. Let's not engage in fear mongering. I know it's easy to do considering all the back and forth and craziness that's going on. Several of you have already reached out to me today and said, Sally, what's going on? I feel like I'm very angry. I feel like I'm very sad. It is important to remember that a while ago, probably about 15 years ago, there was a video put out by Greg Braden, and he talks about the Heart Math Institute. And in the Heart Math Institute, they measure the heart frequencies around the world. So again, do your own due diligence, look up Greg Braden and look up the Heart Math Institute. And there used to be a video out that talked about how it can measure people's emotions around the world up into these events. And right before September 11th, and right before Princess Diana died, people's emotions were off the chart. Now, Cliff High does bot predictions. He approaches sort of what I do, but from more of a scientific basis. He's looking at the chatter, the internet chatter. He's looking at it through the database or several databases, and he calls it bot predictions. 9/11 had what he calls a luminosity, or that frequency of emotion burst was about a 1. What's coming, what's on the horizon, probably late summerish, has a luminosity of 13. So when they talk about a near-death experience, we're probably going to feel that. But here's the thing. Don't get wrapped up into the fear of all this. When you begin to fear, or if you begin to feel anger or worry, and you know it's not anything going on in your world particularly, you can be mindful and say, block that, not my emotion. But what you can, and that will protect you emotionally. But you also want to be prepared and be prepared and hope for the best case scenario, that you never need the preparation. I'm not saying go out there and be a prepper. I'm not promoting doomsday. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But for a few days, you may need to have the security of knowing you've got plenty of food in the house to last you, a month or 2 months. I don't think it's going to be near that long. I'm thinking there might be a period of time where we're sort of locked down for about 3 to 5 days. Again, I don't know. Hopefully I'm wrong. I hope that one day in a year we can look back at this video, Sally, you're wrong. That would be lovely. Let's pray I am. But it doesn't hurt to be prepared. And that's all I'm saying to you. Just be prepared. Now, also, one more thing I want to share with you on that. I was a little bit concerned that this information was going to be maybe not well received. And I had a friend who encouraged me to get this information out because she said, Sally, people at least need to be prepared. Even if you buy it or don't believe it, not believe it, it's irrelevant. It's just getting prepared and knowing that that energy you're feeling, that anger, that sadness, is not necessarily coming from you unless you have something to be sad about or angry about. And if those are the emotions you're feeling the collective emotion and it's not coming from you. So the best thing you can do is, one, take care of yourself. Self-care is critical. You're going to need to make sure you got plenty of water. Make sure you yourself is hydrated. Make sure you yourself have plenty of rest. Take good care of yourself, because those healers out there were going to be very needed. And because there's going to be a lot of people this is going to really blindside them, and they're about ready to get a fire hose in the face. I want you to also, before I let this go, is General Mike Flynn. My friend shared this post with me from X. He posted this yesterday. And I think it's important so you to place it into the context of however you need to do it. All I'm saying, people, please just get prepared. Prepare for the worst and pray and hope for the best. General Flynn sent this out on, well, I would say tweet out, but X'd out. Sounds weird too. Yesterday about the bridge collapse. This is a black swan event. Black swans normally come out of the world of finance, not military. The standard operation procedures for all U.S. ports, harbors, and bays that transit, commerce, and military activities are supposed to maintain incredible level of discipline, rigor, and awareness for these very type of events to not occur ever. Yet here we are. Now it goes on, but again, I'm merely pointing this out. I'm giving you my energy reading, how I see it. I do feel it was intentional. I feel the crew did everything they could to try to stop it. I feel that it was something else that was controlling it. I don't know anything about cargo ships. I have no idea. I know that my own son works for a company and he's got his eyes on cargo ships all over the place. And so I know that there is a real time communication going on with these ships. So perhaps there was an interruption in communication. I don't know. It's very strange. The other thing I want to point out too is that I follow Michael Jaco. He is former CIA, former SEAL Team 6. He also has an enormous amount of training in demolition. And I would recommend that you get on the YouTube channel. There are fake accounts there, but it's Michael Jaco. And he has a lot of followers. So make sure that if you're going to watch him, you look for him on Rumble, that you look for him and look at the followers. It'll be the biggest one. But he talks about that this looks intentional too. Now, I don't want to put words in his mouth, so go to his channel on Rumble. And I'll try to link it in this. I don't know that it'll take it with the algorithms, it may not. But at any rate, everybody, if somebody calls you a name to try to shut you up from asking questions, walk away, keep asking questions. So with that said, I hate to say like it because it sounds such a morbid topic. And I am not one to fearmonger, but I do want people to be prepared. And I want us to be focused on light and love. In your meditations, focus on peacefulness and get as much out there as you can. Remember, there's a lot to be said about Lynn McTaggart's book, The Power of Eight. The more of us coming together, focused on good and peacefulness and joy, the harder it is going to be for the darkness to overtake us. And so, with that, every morning and every night you get up, let's all pull together and send the world and everyone who's affected by this, all these tragedies going on, that they get the peacefulness and love that they can, so everybody can start healing. I hope this helps. Again, this is just to help you get prepared, to get you thinking, and to start asking questions. That's what I get energetically. And I feel truth is going to come out. But we have to be very careful about the official narratives because, holy cow, we're getting lied to from every angle. And who would have thought Buckingham Palace would have been lying to us? But here we are in our strange new world. See you next time.